So this is June 2012, Unit 2 paper. We'll just get straight into the multiple choice section. In December 2012, the UK unemployment rate was 7.9%, an increase of 0.1% on the previous quarter. So when it's talking about quarters, that is a quarter of a year, aka 3 months. So it's gone up by 0.1%. Not a lot, but still it's gone up. Rising unemployment can be a problem for the UK economy because it increases. The only answer can be D. As unemployment, start with the definition. Unemployment is the amount of people who are willing and able to work but currently don't have a job. The more people that are unemployed means the more people claiming job seekers allowance. Therefore, the government's going to have to, if unemployment's increasing, that means the government will have to spend more money giving welfare to those who don't have a job but are looking for it. The answer is not A. Generally, if unemployment is going up, that means that GDP within the economy is probably falling because there are less people working. So if there's less people working, then there's less products being made. By its very definition, if there is a lot of unemployment, that means there are not a lot of people in jobs. So that means if people aren't in jobs, they're not working, they're not producing anything. GDP is the amount that is produced within your economy within a year. Well, if there's a lot of unemployment, we're not producing a lot, so GDP would not be going up. It'd probably be going down. Wouldn't be C, revenue from income tax. You're not going to get more revenue from income tax. You'll have less because less people will be working, therefore less people will be paying income tax. 2. During a boom period, which of the following businesses is least likely to see a significant increase in sales? So you'd start by defining boom period. Boom period is a part of the economic cycle in which generally unemployment is low, GDP is rising quickly, inflation can be high, and consumers have a lot of disposable income. Or you could say, it would probably be better to say, consumers' disposable income is rising. So basically we're saying people have generally got a bit more money than they used to. So which one is going to not see a rise in sales? Basically something that's inferior. People aren't going to be buying as much inferior goods during a boom. Which one's inferior? The answer is D. Discount food retailers sell inferior products. Those are products that people buy more of as their income falls. During a boom period, generally people's income within the UK will be rising. They will therefore buy more normal and luxury goods and less inferior goods such as D. The answer is not B. Fashionable clothes shops. Clothes generally are normal or luxury goods. Therefore, as we are in a boom period, they would see an increase in demand and not a decrease in sales. The answer is for 3. In the UK, the energy market is an oligopoly dominated by a few, such as British Gas, E.ON and Scottish Power. The oligopolistic market will most likely feature. Answer is B. Restricted consumer choice. An oligopolistic market is one in which there are a few dominant businesses that have a market share of 60% or more. As there are only a few dominant businesses, it is very difficult for new companies to enter the market because there are very high barriers to entry. In a monopoly, in an oligopoly, in a duopoly, there's high barriers to entry. Because of this, there is not a lot of choice for the consumer because there is not a lot of competition. So the answer is B. The answer is not A. There are not low barriers to entry. There are very high barriers to entry in an oligopoly market. There are not many buyers and sellers, again, because there's less choice, and there is not perfect competition either, perfect knowledge either. So the answer for that one is B. D. In winter, Asda has a contingency plan called Operation Snowflake to keep its car parks clear of snow. I don't know what this sort of very in-depth contingency plan is, but it probably involves a bloke with a shovel. Business planning can help Asda to reduce uncertainty because it A. Prepares resources for possible problems. A contingency plan is something that a business would have that would try to minimize problems that may occur. It sets out a plan of what to do if certain events take place. So for example, for Asda, it tells them how they should clear the snow if there happened to be a lot of snow during the winter. Therefore, it would tell them as part of the plan what resources they would need in order to clear that snow, e.g. shovel, man, some salt. The answer would not be B, reduce the need for market research. Market research is a way, it wouldn't reduce the need, because market research is a way to reduce uncertainty. So there's more need for market research because you want to reduce uncertainty. It wouldn't be D because it is impossible to accurately predict the future. A business can use market research and contingency plans as a way to try and predict the future, but they cannot accurately always do that because things may happen that they did not anticipate. So the answer is not D, the answer is A. Question 5. Kraft Foods acquired Cadbury in February 2010. One of the reasons why they did a takeover was to gain economies of scale. Economies of scale are most likely to lead to a decrease in C, average cost. Economies of scale are the benefits that a business receives from growing in size. Economies of scale generally lead to a decrease in the average cost of producing one unit. So that's your marks there. The answer would not be B, total costs. The total costs of the business would still rise as they have acquired Cadbury, so they're going to have more wages to pay. They're going to have more machinery to run. They're going to have more raw materials to buy. However, while the average cost has dropped, the total cost will go up. Economies of scale would not lead to a decrease in profitability because the idea of it is to increase profitability. As your average costs go down, this means you should be able to make more profit on each product that is made. And economies of scale would not lead to a decrease in the number of brands. Kraft have acquired Cadbury, so they now have Kraft brands and Cadbury brands as well, so they're able to sell more brands, not less. And question 6, which of the following is least likely to be a dynamic market? Right, define dynamic market. Dynamic market is one in which supply and demand are constantly changing. So which of those would not be the case? The answer would be C. Eggs are an established product. Demand for eggs and supply of eggs is generally pretty level, pretty much stays the same. There is not a lot of competition within the egg market because the products are generally exactly the same. There is a difference, there's sort of organic eggs and non-organic eggs, but essentially most egg products are very similar to each other, so they are not dynamic. There's not a massive change in demand suddenly, there's not a massive change in supply, it's generally staying the same. All the other products that you see there do have a large change in supply and demand constantly, so they are all dynamic. You could choose any of them. You could say D is a dynamic market because there's always new mobile phones coming on the market that do have new features, so demand and supply is constantly changing as there is a lot of competition and each mobile phone does slightly different things, unlike eggs, whereas an egg is an egg. And a mobile phone can do lots of different stuff. Same with laptops, loads of different types of laptops, designer clothes, loads of different types of clothes, and it's always changing because there's different seasons. Fashion never stays the same, unlike eggs, which are always just eggs.